So, let us get started with the history of cybersecurity. In this lecture, we will learn how cybersecurity evolved, when was the first cyber threat that occurred, and obviously the evolution of cybersecurity. 1980s was the era of computer worms. The creation of the first computer worm was a milestone in the history of cybersecurity. Researchers trace the very first disastrous computer worm to Robert T. Morris, who was a graduate student from Cornell University. Morris was curious about the internet size and created a worm in 1988 to gauge it. The worm was designed to infect Unix systems such that it would count the total connections present on the web. Morris thus wrote a worm program that would propagate across a set of networks, use a known vulnerability to infiltrate Unix terminals, and then replicate itself. However, these turned out to be a huge mistake. A programming error caused the worm to infect machine after machine. As a result, networks clogged, causing the connection systems to crash. The worm replicated aggressively to a point where the internet slowed down to a crawl, leaving untold damage in its wake. This worm is the first to have received full media coverage and was among the very first programs to return to exploit system vulnerabilities. The worm's effect lasted beyond the crashed internet and connected systems. For one, Morris became the first person to be charged successfully under the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. He was fined $10,000 and then sentenced to probation of 3 years and dismissed from Cornell, although he went on to become an MIT tenure professor. This act further led to the development of Computer Emergency Response Team, that is CERT. The Morris worm triggered the start of an entirely new field in computer security. It led to more people researching on how they can create deadlier and more effective worms and viruses. 1990s was the era of viruses. As previously mentioned, the Morris worm paved the way for newer types of malicious programs. Viruses were more aggressive programs that came into light in the 1990s. Viruses such as I Love You and Melissa infected tens of millions of computers, causing a worldwide failure of email systems. Most of the virus attacks were primarily concerned with financial gains or strategic objectives. However, inadequate security solutions at that time caused a huge number of unintended victims to be affected. Suddenly, cyber threats and attacks were a huge concern, necessitating the creation of an immediate solution. This problem gave birth to the antivirus software solutions. The programs were designed to detect the presence of viruses and to prevent them from accomplishing their intended tasks. The primary delivery method for virus was the use of malicious email attachments, and therefore this gave rise to the antivirus industry. The early 1990s saw a sharp growth of companies creating and retailing antivirus products. The products were scanning computer systems for the presence of viruses or worms. At the same time, the available antivirus solution scanned business IT systems and tested them with signatures written in a database. All of these things we are going to study in the later part of this course. However, two significant problems had high impacts on the effectiveness of these early antivirus solutions. The issues persist today in some of the current cybersecurity solutions. The problems included the intensive use of resources and a large number of false positives, and the former caused the most problems for users since antivirus solutions scanning systems used a lot of available resources such that they interrupted user activities and productivity. The endpoint protection platforms slowly proved to be a better security solutions for countering an increasing rate of virus attacks. Customers realized that it was possible to detect and stop unknown malwares since only a signature of other existing malwares was required. Then come the first hacker group. What is a hacker group? It consists of individuals with exceptional hacking skills, but they use it for unauthorized access and illegal activities. Main purpose of such hacker group is the financial gain and the money behind it. We'll see the types of hacking groups later in this course, but to your knowledge, Anonymous was the first hacker group that came into the light on October 1, 2003. It first made news when it hacked a website belonging to the Church of Scientology through DDoS attack. And this is where hacking organizations started. So, we saw the history of cybersecurity. We saw how the first worm started affecting the world and which led to the development of many cybersecurity hacking organizations. In the next lecture, we will see the scope and career of cybersecurity. The next lecture is very important for you if you really want to create a nice and decent career in cybersecurity.